Hello and welcome to our first ever video on behalf of the Nathan Burton Academy, where we look to bridge the gap between economics, personal finance and helping you understand what that means for you. Today, and for this first video, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the car finance mis-selling scandal. Clearly, anyone that's been in Britain for this last few weeks and months will have heard about it in the news, maybe even read about it in the papers or online, but it's quite a complicated topic, and so I want to take a few minutes now to unpack it for everyone so that you know whether you were affected or whether you were likely to be affected, and what you do need or don't need to do about that to get the money that you were owed. Now, by a bit of history then. If we go back over the last 20, 25 years or so, a number of car finance companies or car finance providers offered what is now known as a discretionary commission arrangement. In practice, that allowed companies to sell you a car finance package when you bought your car from the dealership at a rate that was actually far from as competitive as they were making it out to be. And what that actually meant was that, to cut a long story short, you were paid far more in interest than you should have done over a period of however many years your agreement was. Now, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, undertook an investigation on this, and they recently concluded after their investigation, a number of court battles, that the solution was to direct a mass redress scheme. What that means is that they have essentially done their investigation and found that this wasn't a one-off. This was systematic mis-selling of car finance packages to hundreds of thousands of people. And the average compensation that people should expect to receive if they were affected by this is in the region of £800 per agreement. I want to just pause and reflect on that a moment. Per agreement. If you are someone who's maybe slightly older or has had a number of finance packages over that period of time, you could be entitled to significantly more because clearly you've had more agreements and you have therefore overpaid more and more often than someone that maybe only had the one, for example. Interestingly, there's only two ways that you can find out if you're even affected by this. Number one, sit tight, do nothing. The FCA redress scheme directs the car finance providers to make a reasonable attempt to contact you if you were wronged by the mis-selling of car finance in order to discuss compensation arrangements. That's great. It's going to take a little bit longer, perhaps 6 to 12 months or so, before anyone gets in touch with you and starts discussing it or makes an offer of compensation. But I try to go back to what I said, an obligation to make a reasonable attempt. If you've moved a few times, maybe you've changed your contact details, or for whatever reason, they just can't get hold of you. They don't have the means to get hold of you. They don't have the means to contact you. And that means that compensation might never get paid. So if you're not prepared to take that risk, and most aren't, the best thing you can do is submit a complaint to your car finance provider, and at least then they know who you are, they know where you are, they have your contact details, and they can arrange to get in touch with you at the appropriate point to discuss your compensation arrangements. Now, for a lot of people, when you say that to them, that feels quite overwhelming. But don't worry, because this is now quite a well-oiled machine with respect to the car finance companies. Thousands of people have complained over the last couple of years. So this for them is a well-trodden path, and it's by far from the adversarial process that you might expect it to be. If you've got all your car finance details to hand, maybe you've got them in a folder stuffed in a drawer somewhere, that's great. You can use those. Money Saving Expert has an excellent how-to guide that will take you through every single step from getting your agreement and your paperwork together right the way through to sending and submitting your complaint to your provider, and also details perhaps expectations of what should happen next. If, however, you haven't got all those details, don't panic. All isn't lost. The credit reference agency Equifax has a free app. Make sure you get the free version and the paid for version. And in that's got a brilliant built-in tool for helping you track down old agreements if you perhaps don't have all the documentation or all of the details that you might need to submit a complaint. Use that, put it into the Money Saving Expert guide, send it off to the car finance provider. Now, once they receive it, clearly it's going to take a little bit of time for them to process that complaint, and they will let you know whether you have had a discretionary commission arrangement. That's the big one, remember, that we needed to make sure that we've got in place. And important to note at this point, just because you have a discretionary commission arrangement doesn't make you entitled to compensation by right. But if you are entitled to compensation, they have all your details, your complaint is logged, and they'll get in touch with you and they'll arrange to make that payment. You could, of course, not accept it and go to court, but that's potentially going to cost you a lot more money and take far longer. So in the vast majority of cases, people are perhaps better off thinking about whether they should accept the compensation that's being offered. But clearly that route exists to you, and you should absolutely use that if you think that's appropriate for your circumstances. The other thing I've been hearing a lot about recently, and you go on the telly, you'll see umpteen adverts, you've probably had a few letters through the post, and certainly I've had a number of people asking me recently on X or via WhatsApp whether they should instruct one of these claims management companies to go and get the money on their behalf in exchange for a percentage of the compensation, usually somewhere in the region of 20 to 25%, maybe slightly more depending on which company you use. A note of caution. First of all, these claims management companies do not have a secret database with all of your information on there. They only know what you give to them, and they then use that information to write to the car finance provider on your behalf in the exact same way that you would do it if you went through the free Money Saving Expert Guide. So essentially all they become is a paid middleman submitting information that you've already provided to the car finance provider. Now, if you're someone that doesn't, for whatever reason, think that they can do the administrative details of that or the correspondence, then maybe you want to consider it. But for the vast majority of people, there is no need whatsoever to pay a third-party claims management company to do this for you. Even if you don't have all of the details, think really long and hard about whether you can get them and submit that claim yourself. Like I say, these guys don't have a secret database with all your car finance information hidden away on it, and they've got to go and do that research, and they've got to go and find that information in the exact same way that you would. They're just more practiced at it. So if you think you want to give them £200-300 or more of compensation, crack on. If not, it's absolutely not necessary. Get your details, submit the complaint, sit back, wait for them to get in touch with you, and collect your compensation. Hope you found that useful. Feel free to drop a comment, ask a question, and of course, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. It helps get that message out to everyone that perhaps needs it, with support understanding the impacts of economics, personal finance, and what it means to them.